In the essence of time, I guess we'll get started. We're a little behind schedule. But good morning and welcome everyone to today's business breakfast. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to be with us here today. Our goal is not only to provide you some brief updates about the city, but also to continue to build relationships with our business community. This is a great opportunity not only to share ideas, have discussions, or address any concerns you may have about the city. Our format is being followed similar to the PD Coffee with a Cop program, where you simply sit down and have a cup of coffee and have a discussion. As a matter of fact, the PD is having their Coffee with a Cop program next month at our local Starbucks, so be on the lookout for that schedule. Before I begin today, I'd like to introduce some of the city staff that is here today. We have Angela Kimmy, our Deputy City Administrator, Dan Wall, our Public Works Director, Robert Sosa, our Chief of Police, Margie Otto, our Assistant General Manager of BPU. We have Richard Corby, a Planning and Analyst for BPU. We have Carla Washington as our Administrative Secretary, Sandra Sandoval, Admin, Diana Figueroa, and Lily Hernandez. We have our Captain from the PD, Brandon Gray, back in the back there. And we have two city employees here. If you want to introduce yourselves. Thank you. Glad to meet you. And we have Dominic working the PowerPoint over here. So thank you again. Oh, Biz. Thank you, Manny. You were on the list. I'm sorry. My list got longer as people were showing up. Lily Hernandez, the assistant to the deputy, to the city administrator. So thank you all for being here today. So today's agenda will cover the Vernon Public Utilities reliability metrics, the Metro Malabar Yard impacts. I'm sure many of you are aware of the issue. Progress with our housing development and our public safety update. And at the end, we'll have some time for questions and we can discuss any issues you may have. But feel free to ask any questions during any of the pre-presentation. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Margie.
Annie. Good morning to our new businesses and to our existing businesses and residents and stakeholders. Welcome. My name is Margie Otto. As Danny's shared, I'm the Assistant General Manager for the utility. And so I'm here today to give an overview of our reliability metrics. Can everyone hear me okay? Should probably put my Okay, so in terms of reliability, what does that actually mean? So like each of your businesses, we pride ourselves on making sure that we provide the best product that we possibly can and the service is of the utmost excellence. And so how do we actually know how well we're doing in terms of our performance with our electricity? So we measure ourselves. We compare ourselves against our competitors. And that is a rotating panel of 18 different judges nationwide. There are actually over 2,000 utilities nationwide, just to give a little perspective. So we're proud to share that we've received the Excellence in Reliability from the American Public Power Association, which is the RP3. We've received the Diamond designation, which is the highest designation that you possibly can receive. And we've received it for the last 3 times. Each time represents 5 years. So that's 15 years just to give a sense. And then the long of the short, we're in the top 25% of the utilities as we as we rate ourselves against other competitors. This next slide gives you an idea of what we're actually measured against. So the first index is when you're a resident, you go to flip that switch and you're a business and you go to turn that equipment on, what is the percent of reliability that that power is going to be on when you flip it? And that is 99.99%. So we strive for excellence, like I just said. We are continuing to go after that third 9 and that fourth 9 behind that decimal point. The second index is the what we call the SAIDI, and that is the average amount of time that if there was an outage, what is it that the Vernon customer experiences? I will say as a caveat, this is like system average. So more than or about half of our outages are about 10 seconds or less. But for the ones that are longer than that, that system average is about 29.7 minutes long. And then that third index, what we call a SAFE, that measures the number of outages Vernon customers is likely to experience. So our percent is 0.5. What that means is not every customer is going to experience an outage a year. Hopefully for the businesses that are here, you can attest to that as well. And then that fourth, there's a lot of metrics, but these are really sort of the foundational pillars that we are judged against, and that's CAIDI. So if a customer is experiencing an outage, what is that time to restore? And then that's extremely important, right? Because not only do you come to Vernon for reliable power, but you just want to make sure that when that power gets restored, how quickly can it get restored so that you know what to do with your staff? How is that going to impact operations, manufacturing, whatever your operation is? And our system average is about 56 minutes on average to restore. So for the last 15 years that we've been measuring ourselves, we have significantly improved that number, and we fare very well in comparison to other utilities. So this last and final slide gives you a sense of what actually causes our outages. So when you drive around the city of Vernon, you can see that the majority of our power distribution is overhead. And so the majority of our outages, 35%, are caused by Mylar metallic balloons. And then the second highest is vehicle accidents. So large trucks turned in that corner, hitting the pole. And then the other components just sort of make up that. I will say Mylar balloons, the outage that we experienced a couple weeks ago was probably, we don't, in Vernon, don't have them as frequently, but that is our biggest cause. There has been legislation that was approved in September of 2022. It's AB 847, if anybody is interested in getting a little bit more sense of it. And we work closely with the city manager's office, Angela in particular, for sort of, lobbying for legislation that really is advocating for our businesses and what kind of impact it has on us. So the legislation prohibits the ban and the sale of Mylar balloons, but it is giving businesses until 2027 to understand what the requirements are to eliminate that non-foil conductor. That's the part that when the balloons reach our overhead wires, it creates that arc, the sparking, causes an outage, possibly damage to the line as well as extended fire. Then the second half of this slide is how we compare to the neighboring utilities. So we think it's important to, see how we fare in comparison. Obviously, we are judged against the 2,000 plus utilities nationwide, but when it comes to the businesses in Vernon, you're not necessarily going to look at us as it relates to Virginia or say Texas. It's really about if you come into California, because it's important to do business here, it's in the LA area, you're looking at how you fare in comparison, or we fare in comparison to LADWP or Edison. So as it relates to the outages, ours is the light blue. You can obviously see we do very well relative to the time of the duration of the outage a customer were experienced if they were in LA or if they were in Edison. And by LA, I mean LADWP. So, and I'll just note that, we take power very seriously, not only in terms of making sure that it's available, it's consistent, it's reliable, but also that it's cost effective. So as a, not-for-profit utility, what that means is we can only charge you the cost it takes for the utility to deliver the power to you. So unlike investor-owned utilities like Edison, there's not markup on our equipment, there's not markup on our labor, it's just the true cost to provide power. So with that, that concludes my presentation. There is a slide at the end of this overall slide deck. Gives customers the opportunity to sign up for outage notifications. So should your business or your home be fed by a certain circuit that's experiencing an outage, the utility would notify you when your business or home is impacted and then notify you again through automated messaging of when your power is expected to be restored. That's through our Everbridge system. On that slide, you'll see the email address as well as the website to log on and participate. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Margie. Okay, so my name is Angela Kimmy, Deputy City Administrator. Going to give you a brief update on what's happening with Metro and the Malabar Yard impacts. So if you're not familiar, Metro has the Link US project, Link Union Station. They're making some improvements at Union Station to accommodate high-speed rail. Part of the project includes expansion of rail in Vernon at the Malabar Yard Station. It involves closure and modification of some city streets, including some taking of some property from Vernon businesses, particularly around 46 and 49 streets. We've been active in engagement in this issue. We are very happy to say that we have support of our County Board Supervisor, Janice Hahn, who fortunately for us is the current chair of the Metro Board. She's given staff the direction to find resolution with the city of Vernon before bringing the project back to the board for approval. And so that has really helped Metro's posture in engaging with us. So we have been meeting with them to talk about mitigations. On the side, we are contracting with resources to identify if there are project alternatives that maybe Metro hasn't thought of or maybe less supportive of, but with enough support, maybe we're still hopeful that we could make the Malabar Yard expansion and the impacts to Vernon go away. But if that's not the case, we're pursuing parallel tracks to continue to negotiate for additional mitigation. So that's been ongoing. If you're not familiar with this project, on the city's website, right on the homepage, if you just scroll down about halfway, you'll see that there is an update on the Metro Link US project and the Malabar Yard mitigations. There is a link there to specifically Appendix Q, which identifies what the impacts to Vernon are separate from the overall Union Station improvements. And that's the whole of the update. If there are any immediate questions, we'll go on to the next presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dan Wall, the Director of Public Works. Mixed-use rezoning has paved the way to repurpose obsolete industrial spaces in Vernon, making modern and practical uses of these sites possible. Vernon's goal is that mixed use will reinvigorate the city, strengthen long-term stability, increase residential population, diversify land use, increase amenities, and create an environment that enhances Vernon's identity. Currently, there are two residential developments in plan review. The first is at 5201 Santa Fe. This project shown here will convert an old two-story industrial building into 18 market rate apartments. The second project is at 4419 Pacific. That project will create a new four-story, 61 unit market rate apartment building on a property that is currently being used for truck parking and a cell tower. The owners of these projects have shared that their intended tenants work in Vernon. It is anticipated that construction of the Santa Fe property will begin before the end of the year, and that construction of the Pacific property will start this spring. And that's it for my update.
All right, good morning, everybody. Nice to see most familiar faces. If you attended the BIC meeting that we had, I think about a week ago now, this may be repetitive for you, but felt it was important to talk about some of the technology that the police department has brought forward. Public safety continues to be a key priority for the city of Vernon. Over the last few years, we have been working to implement modern technologies that enhance our ability to prevent, monitor, and respond to incidents. The use of technology in public safety ensures efficient and timely response to emergencies and offers more robust data decision-making on how we police our community. And I'm going to touch on a few of those technological enhancements that we've made. We've enhanced our 911 system by transitioning to what we refer to as the next generation 911, allowing for multimedia capabilities in emergency calls. The public can now text us images and even videos to our 911 system. We also upgraded our Motorola radio system to improve coverage and encrypted our radio frequency to improve officer safety and protect our public personnel information. Body-worn cameras. Full deployment across the police officers occurred during the first quarter of this year. Body-worn cameras help improve transparency and accountability while also reducing complaints against our officers. Evidence collected through our body-worn cameras has also been instrumental in criminal prosecutions as well. License plate reader systems. Currently, we have two types of license plate reader systems in the city at key traffic intersections and several entry points into the city of Vernon. The cameras have assisted us in solving crimes, locating missing persons, and recovering stolen vehicles. PD looks to expand its what we refer to as our LPR program in the future, including looking at private partnerships with businesses, the community, and working with Vernon Public Utilities to look at increasing our cameras at some of the city's critical infrastructure locations. We have also implemented an e-bike team. You may have seen them around. Got a photo of one of our younger officers up there on a bike. I have a bike here that you can see this morning. We've also implemented, and probably not one of the more favorite things, an e-citation program. So our officers can more efficiently issue citations, but that also allows us to upload and send that information to the court seamlessly. And drones. The city council has approved the use of drones by the police department, and we are currently in the process of getting staff trained to operate them. Our drones are equipped with thermal imaging and high definition cameras to assist in search and rescue and emergency response. Drones will help reduce search times, especially in hard to reach areas such as rooftops, railroad spurs, and riverbed areas, and will help and improve officer safety and our level of service. We have an example of two of our drones here this morning, so after we break from the formal presentation, you're more than welcome to see them. We won't be flying them around this morning, but they're here for you to see what they look like. So some of the future technology that we're focusing on in the police department, I think it's fair that I share as well. One of the biggest things that we're kind of diving into, and a lot of our younger staff really love this, is virtual reality training. Currently, most of our staff have attended virtual reality training. It's offered by the Los Angeles Police Department at their training academy. VR-based training helps simulate de-escalation scenarios for our officers, mass casualty incidents, and other high-stress environments that our staff might find themselves in. This type of training is beneficial to help enhance our readiness and decision-making in critical incidents. We also are looking at an electrical vehicle pilot program. Recently, the city council approved the purchase of 2 Teslas for the police department. Both vehicles will be outfitted soon. One of the vehicles will be for administrative functions, like our detectives, and the other will be assigned to our patrol department. And if the vehicles perform as we expect they will perform, we plan to increase the number of EV vehicles in the future. And lastly, kind of a software update, but also important and kind of backroom stuff that the public might not see. But we are linking our computer-aided dispatch system, our records management system, and our mobile computer terminals in our police cars. And they have several benefits. They'll help increase productivity, communication, and service to the community. Will help us collect, store, and access data on all of our platforms in a shared searchable database, helping to keep our staff safe and informed with the most up-to-date information. In addition, having all 3 of these systems integrated will allow for more data-based decision-making when we're looking at ways to deter crime. So policing with a little bit more intelligence behind it. Lastly, this new software will help the department continue to remain compliant with a lot of the reporting requirements that we have, including reporting requirements to the FBI. So in closing, the city is committed to continuing its investment in cutting-edge technology to enhance public safety and improve our response times. These innovations not only foster a safer environment, but also provide our public safety personnel with the tools they need to serve the community more effectively. So, and before I think the city administrator touched on it, Coffee with a Cop is going to occur October 8th at our local Starbucks. You probably see us there already, but we'll be there from 8 to 10. You're welcome to stop by. We'll have coffee for you. And last year was a blast. People are always surprised when they see a police officer hand them their coffee through the window. They weren't expecting that. So I'll stick around for any questions. Unless somebody's got questions now, I'll be more than happy to answer them before I step away. All right. Thank you.
Oops, did the wrong one again. There we go. So ways for you to stay involved with the city. The city council meetings and our business community events such as this one. All of those topics are made available on the city's website so you can see what's being discussed. You can also sign up on the city's website for notifications. So if there are issues of interest, you get advance notification of that to participate in a city council meeting and voice your concerns. We are here to serve you. And we do that better when we know what your needs are, what your concerns are, and want to have a two-way communication, hence, why we have this event today. So in addition, there are city boards and commissions. We have a special commission for the business and industry. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to have your participation. We also have Green Commission that the business community has positions on to help, again, with the two-way communication with the city and involvement in advancing how the city is evolving. Additionally, we have the Vernon Community Fund. We are accepting scholarship donations. So for the first time, I think last year was the first time we had set this up for the businesses. Year end, you've got tax obligations. You want to help mitigate that. Donate to the Vernon Community Fund and help send a kid from Southeast LA to college. Also applies for kids going to trade schools and all of that. So keep us in mind year end as you're looking at your taxes. We're happy to help you, help us contribute to the community. And then finally, through the Vernon Chamber of Commerce, we have our Vernon Chamber of Commerce CEO, Marissa Olguin here. The chamber is a close partner with the city, advocating on your behalf and always looking for new memberships. So please contact Marissa Olguin. Her email is there on the slide, or feel free to talk to her today because she's here. And in the vein of staying connected with the city and helping us stay connected with you, Margie mentioned earlier about the outage notification. So you can scan that QR code and that will take you directly to Everbridge. Additionally, there's a place on the website where you can access this information to sign up for outage notifications. We have a separate process for additional notifications of other city things that we're also promoting. We're really working hard to ramp up our communications efforts, how we communicate things to you. So this second QR code, we're really looking to build our database for our ability to communicate with the businesses. We'd like for you to circulate this information within your businesses. We'd like a contact for your business for HR when we have job fairs, so we can message directly to your HR directors and inform about job fairs that the city is planning and organizing. Additionally, sometimes we hear about regulations or legislation that we want to know, how impactful is this for our Vernon businesses? So the city knows how to respond. Would be great to have a contact for a plant manager or a government affairs person, so we can have that relationship with your businesses too, and facilitate our ability to advocate on your behalf. And in closing, these are all of our department heads. And I want to jump right ahead to contact our email, cityadmin@cityofvernon.org is a good general email when you need to reach out to the city and maybe you don't know exactly what department. We really want to make ourselves accessible to you so that we know what your concerns are and we know how to help. Sometimes you may feel, I've got a traffic concern, or maybe something that is a burden but not big enough that you've got to, reach out to the city. We're here to even help with the little things like red curb or so here's an email where you can easily reach out and just say, hey, I have this problem, and then we'll respond and see how we can support your efforts. And as Danny mentioned this morning, we are here really to hear from you. We do these little updates to start communication with you. But the intent is really to put some things out there and then create a forum to hear what's going on with your businesses. Are things going well? Is there a challenge? Is there a regulation that's impacting? Do you have an operational need that the city may be able to support? So with that, maybe we do a roundtable around the room introductions from our businesses so that you guys can meet each other and we can know who's here, and turn the floor over to you all for questions or comments on how we're doing. I'm going to start here. The spec. Welcome. Yeah. Okay. Welcome. Excellent. Mhm. Excellent. Welcome. Very good. Welcome, Brian. Yeah. Oh, excellent. Welcome. Let's see, miss in the back row there. Excellent. Very good. Did we miss anybody? Excellent. So what's going on? How your businesses? How you doing? I feel like Oprah. No cars. Yeah, Jack. Mhm. So we don't have a specific like analysis on that yet, as it's yet to be signed. But, you know, we recently contracted with a lobbying firm. We are in the process of developing a legislative platform that city council will adopt that says, these are our goals, these are our general guidelines, and that will inform staff on, you know, how we can advocate legislatively. So currently, we don't, I will say our legislative program is informal. And we don't have a position on that specific bill. Mhm. 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 Mm. Right. Mhm. Right, right. So I would say on this, uh, we will, could be impacted. Now, how it's done, you know, the devil is in the details. We know from a general standpoint, the city is actively trying to grow its residential population. With that said, Vernon's different than most cities, and not every site is suitable because of, you know, environmental issues. Um, so I think that gives us cover in being forced to convert certain areas for residential that aren't suitable just because of environmental mitigations that would need to take place to even potentially make that site suitable. Mhm. 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 No.
Yeah, that's on our radar. Everything. Fully aware of it. It's just a matter of uh, the challenges we will face to address that issue, but we will do everything we can. Mm. Yes. Yes. Yeah. The same issue we're dealing with the Metro US Link project. Same thing. That's another issue we have to really ramp up our efforts. And luckily, we are meeting with the Metro team on a regular basis. Hopefully, we can find some solutions to address the impacts it will have in Vernon. But we are meeting with them in the next monthly. I think that's our schedule until we can find a solution. Gladly, we have the support of Hans' office. He's also involved, the transportation director, in these meetings. So that really helps.
Dan, did you have any? we'll look more into it and further some. So official census number is 220. Not everybody wants to be counted, so we know we're a little bit above that, really estimating more about 250. Potentially. Yep. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we did a rezoning for mixed use. So we're hopeful all along the Santa Fe and parts of Pacific to have retail on the bottom and residents on the top. We are working to help promote those developments and help promote and support our existing restaurants. I don't know if you guys are following us on social media. I'm sure everybody is. But we've engaged a firm to help us kind of raise awareness to some of the businesses, restaurants that are in the area. And, you know, they're having contests to win a free lunch or a free dinner if you hashtag this or that, or, you know, click or like whoever, you know, I don't know about social media things, but so, you know, we're putting efforts into economic development for attraction and retention of restaurants and retail opportunities. Part of our goals is to bring in additional retail into the city. Love to have a pharmacy, right? That's something that when you look around, like almost everything is in HP, you know, if it's an In-N-Out or a Pinkberry or whatever, that is so close, but looking at, you know, what's kind of missing in the area that would be complemented by our population here, working population and residential population, trying to be strategic with our economic development and attracting those types of retail opportunities. In fact, I don't know if I want to put the cat in the bag, but, you know, we're looking at everything, you know, trying to attract a Costco even, you know, we may not get a Target because there's one right on the border of HP, but, you know, why not a Walgreens or a CVS? So, so we are actively through economic development working on attracting additional retail. You know, we need to provide the amenities that people need when attracting residential population, but retail opportunities also support the city with sales tax. So that is top of mind, top of priorities. Thank you. Questions? Yeah. Mhm. Mm. Right.
Wrote a letter.
Mhm.
That's good.
Yes.
So I put it.
Yeah, so we want to get a list of all the impacted businesses and property owners. We know from the open house and hearing from some of the businesses and property owners that they weren't all contacted. Metro, you know, they didn't do a great job. And so, you know, you can't just knock on the door and tell whoever answers the phone, hey, there's a project that may impact this property. You got to make sure that you talk to the appropriate person. And if that business isn't the property owner, you've got to do your due diligence to talk to the property owner too. So we are working now to get a resource to get all of that information so that we can have our own internal list to communicate what's happening with the businesses. So please, before you leave, you know, let me have your information. We're going to start a list so that we can provide you regular updates and also be better able to hold Metro accountable. You know, they said, oh, we talked to all the businesses. Well, we heard from the businesses, they didn't talk to all the businesses. So one of our asks from our first meeting was keep us in the loop. You've committed to speaking to every business. We're going to add to your list and say speak to every property owner. And we want to ensure that you do that. So CC us on all of your meeting requests for outreach to businesses and property owners so that, you know, so that we can help connect the dots and hold them accountable. So having a separate list where we can keep you updated with what's going on, because we, you know, we are working hard to find mitigations for business concerns as well as kind of just the general air quality impacts that this project is going to have. So that's an effort where we're, ramping up our ability to communicate directly with impacted businesses and working with the chamber to do that.
In addition, the Metro team has assured us that they will do a one-on-one visit to every business that is being impacted by this change. So keep us in the loop. If they don't reach out, let us know, because they. Oh, the daytime? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
That's
Uh-huh.
as
Yes. On the city's website?
Yeah.
The Link US, yeah, it has the whole, yeah, because there's thousands and thousands of pages. If you scroll down, just keep scrolling down, there's a separate link specifically to Appendix Q. Oh, Appendix Q is 700 pages, so you're not going to get any relief there, but we'll make a note to update our website and find, even if we don't link to the Metro website, provide a link to a PDF of the document. So, I don't know, Dan, if you're better to talk to this,
Yeah.
Letter to. That was really effective and helped I through all the whole.
yeah,
You've
it's,
done a great job. You could actually. Right.
yeah, both letters, we had the mayor sign kind of a high level policy letter with, the general impacts to public safety, air quality, traffic. And then Dan's technical comment letter that is about 20 pages. Both of those are linked on the city's homepage. Dan, you want to talk more about the Yeah.
So, Brian, the impacts are going to be, 49th Street will be shut down, between Santa Fe and just, at the railroad track. So the railroad track between Santa Fe and Pacific, there's that rail there with the 7 tracks, that's going to be closed, at the rail. On 46th Street, currently east of Pacific, there's a little bit of train line that goes in there. That train line is going to be extended to Seville, where there's another track. So there's going to be active track that goes down 46th Street between Pacific and Seville. And so those are the big impacts. Train's going to be up to 4,000 feet long, so much longer than the trains that are currently there. And you're right off of Pacific, you're right on Pacific, so you're aware of how the trains back up and go back and forth while they're building trains, where they're going to be building trains that are twice as long as what they have now. So the impacts are going to be even greater to us. So that's what's addressed in. It's going to be storage and the creation of long trains. So the trains will be stored there and then they will be made into a long train that goes down to LA Junction. And they won't even tell us the number of trains that are there in a day. So they're very difficult to deal with, and they're not very forthcoming on information to anybody. Yep. No,
Second one was a week later, but the first bill, and that one took they actually tilted the side, but there was no step, no release. But unfortunately, I didn't disclose that information to the local businesses. Maybe that's something we can include in our website when those incidents do occur. Or actually notifications through the alert system. And then who's responsible? Actually, we can address that at our next meeting, because they're in contact with them. But that's something we can point out.
And those are part of the mitigations that Metro has already proposed. Is, more safety related improvements for the. But the point that. BNSF, the railroads, they keep everything to themselves. Metro doesn't even have good information about the train operations and the length of trains. In a meeting, they gave us information very different from what they had put in their own EIR. And they said that they struggle to get information out of them as well. And they're partnering on this and aren't providing their partner in this project all of the actual information about train operation.
Does the city have, do they have the ability to have environmental regulations?
So the railroad is federally regulated, and so we run into that problem with trying to impose regulations on top of a federally regulated area.
Certainly and safety.
Yes, yeah.
In your meetings with Metro last meeting, did they give any indication, especially with the proposed housing development on Pacific? They give any indication of redoing some of the studies that seem to be in direct conflict with your general plan, and then also some of the environmental and proximity to school and church? Did they give any indication that some of those studies will be done?
I mean, we've requested it, so full disclosure, we've had 2 meetings, one since the closure of the public comment period. And that was one of our recommendations. Because we know that their traffic studies, a lot of their material was inaccurate, out of date, and just plain wrong. So that's something that we've requested, but we're in the process of following up to schedule a series of meetings to, for them to speak to what we've asked and some of the comments and explore mitigations.
So in addition, those comments were made during the review period to Metro as a flaw in their draft EIR. And so if those are not addressed in the final EIR that's adopted, that would become grounds for a lawsuit.
Yes, we're actually meeting with them on a regular basis. So every meeting that we hope that they will address our concern, at least give some answers. If they plan to make that change.
Yeah, hugely impactful project, and we're working hard to rally the resources to really fight this hard with lobbyists that specialize in transportation and metro related issues, in resources to help us to identify mitigations and look at project alternatives that maybe Metro didn't consider, or maybe they don't favor, but operationally will meet their needs, so that we can propose those and have some support
when, you know, this next couple of months passes and we've been talking with Metro, but we don't have a suitable resolution. We hope to have data to be able to say, these are all of the alternatives that they didn't propose to you. And, you know, don't approve this project, send Metro back to the drawing board to reevaluate.
I have a question, well, a comment, different subject, but it's affecting our property. I don't know if you're aware of who you are, but we came to our attention that the PTSC
Mhm.
is opening up a case regarding ground contamination in our area. We acquired our property almost 20 years ago. And it seems like they're blaming us or the other company that was there before us for contaminating the ground. Now, this is the city, when we built the building, brand new building, everything approved through the city. So now it seems like they're gonna come after us as the new owners for that past contamination. Does the city offer any guidance, help regarding that? Because when we did our building, we did everything that was required from us, everything that was asked from us, from the city, health department,
Mhm.
and the DTSC to clean up the dirt, to do our building. But now they're 20 years later, bringing it up again. And what we heard is that Huntington Park is blaming Vernon for contaminating the groundwater in most Huntington Park. That rule is city aware of it, and can we get help?
So we are aware of it. Myself and Freddie Agent, our Director of Public Health, who is not here, is at a conference out of state today, unfortunately couldn't be with us. But this is on our radar. We have had meetings with DTSC about it. In fact, we had a meeting with EPA about it 2 days ago. So this is on our radar. Not your specific situation being, you know, a new occupier of a property with previous contamination. So let's talk and, you know, we can coordinate some meetings with DTSA to communicate your concerns and make sure that they fully understand that, you know, how you acquired the property and what was there before and see what can be done. Happy to, you know, facilitate some meetings to discuss. That's one of the areas that we've worked really hard in the last couple of years is building our relationships with regulators. So that they understand how we're different and how the city's evolving and understand that, you know, mixed uses are in play here now and the city is being more sensitive to that sort of thing and just build relationships so that we can work collaboratively together to implement regulations as appropriate for Vernon.
So it is true that the city of Huntington Park is pressuring Vernon for that?
So this is a Huntington Park or Maywood.
We heard Huntington Park, right? Yeah.
So in our discussions, it was Maywood. So, I mean, being fully aware, you know, we are now, City of Vernon's, we're celebrating our 120-year anniversary next year. We are the first incorporated city in the Southeast LA. You know, some of these operations, while impacting residents now, have been happening in Vernon for more than 100 years. With what was known then and what are best practices now, very different. So, you know, working with DTSC to be mindful of that, but the surrounding communities, you know, they're fed up with a lot of the impacts. And so they want resolution. Whether it comes from the state or whether it comes from the businesses, you know, the surrounding cities, they don't really care. They just want some resolution. So in working to build relationships with the regulators, with EPA and DTSC, there are lots of funding available. And so we're stepping up to try and fill the gaps to be more responsive to the concerns of the surrounding cities and be creative about finding resolution to some of these longstanding problems.
But DTSC is aware that these are problems that come from 50, 60
Right.
years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have
You
to
know,
be
now we
addressed.
come in and,
Yeah,
you know, well, you're in there, so you pay for it. It's like,
yeah, and that's not fair.
which is, I'd rather just close.
Right.
Go away.
Well, we don't want that. And so that's why we're happy to intervene and look
Yeah.
at creative sources, because
Right.
one of the conferences that Freddie actually was at last week was about brownfields remediation. You know, there's a lot of money out there from the state and the feds for remediation, even now, remediation to residential levels. So, you know, it's a matter of, we know what the problem is. The impacted surrounding communities have a right to say, hey, you know, our water's being impacted, what's being done? I don't think they care if Vernon fixes the problem, or the business fixes the problem, or the state fixes the problem. But that's why we're engaging with DTSC to say, okay, here's the problem. We're aware of all of these funding opportunities. Let's connect the dots to just fix it. You know, you know, move forward, but, doesn't seem fair that if you acquire the property in that state, that you're now being asked to, pay for expensive remediation. So happy to facilitate conversations with DTSC to see what we can do about it.
So that would be with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely be in touch. Before we leave, but there's nothing.
Yeah, it's some of these longstanding issues, they get complicated, and the regulators are not great at handling them. You know, they pass from agency to agency. It's something, one point in time, I understand, was with DTSC, and then DTSC passed it on to the water boards, and the water board said, okay, well, we put that business under voluntary remediation. Well, what does that mean, voluntary remediation? And then, you know, the problem stayed and stayed and stayed until it's in the groundwater, and now it's a much bigger problem. So raising awareness to say, okay, you've got this list, let's work on, you know, finding creative sources to resolve the issues and not just leave them off, you know, off their priorities, and just let them sit until they become critical. Anything else?
I have a question. So what is your impression when you drive into Vernon?
Clean,
That's a good one, I like that one.
no graffiti.
No graffiti, 2 for 2.
Road traffic, pretty good.
Busy? Busy, right, traffic is an issue, man, we look at that all the time. Obviously, we're in the business of the movement of goods and services, correct? Right, very important. Anything else? Industrial.
All these trucks idling everywhere.
Idling trucks, right?
In front of our shop, they just park there and idle all 8-hour shifts. Sometimes I close, they're there, I come back and they're still out.
So, yeah, chief, that needs, I mean, we're
Not every day, but it happens very often.
we're looking for creative solutions to provide the truck drivers somewhere to go. For example, we have changed an Albert Way, done by the chair with the state sellers. You see them come in early on Sunday morning, Saturday night. Yeah. When we go to the same from average cycles are looking the cycle of truck movement and city.
We have to close our windows, smell the diesel, the noise, when it's, it's annoying.
So you'll see lots of changes around, some of the, trees that Public Works has been planting. Our goal now moving forward is how many trees?
So 500 trees this year. The following year, we would like to plant an additional 1,000.
Is that it's a goal, we're gonna need your help.
So trees, the traffic signal boxes, you know, if you've noticed those, they've gotten quite a bit of attention. You know, the city, as we work to diversify land uses and make the city aesthetically more attractive. We'll always be industrial, that's not ever gonna change, but you know, it can look a little nicer too.
Well, and
So the traffic signal boxes is another one that was funded through a grant that Public Works Department was awarded.
right, and our funding for a lot of our tree planting is also from outside sources of funding. How trees benefit you as property owners and business operators is they're going to help reduce temperatures, so extreme temperature. And that's going to have an impact on you by making your property cheaper to operate, basically. So your AC costs should see a decrease as we increase our tree canopy.
Down in the trees, the property owner is responsible for the maintenance of the trees, the sidewalks, the trees in place.
No, they are not, but what we are asking for is that if they could assist us and just, so city has responsibility for the trees and our crews water the trees during their 2-year establishment period. But if a property owner wants to dump a bucket of water on the trees, that's, we are certainly, yeah, we very much welcome that, so.
Okay, so we were gonna circle back just to Malabar Yard, the website, so you can see what's there and if we need to make some updates. So this is the homepage. Dominic just scrolled down from the whole homepage. And there are the letters, links to the PDFs of the letters and the text of the letters there. And then if you scroll all the way down, Appendix Q, environmental evaluation of Malabar Yard. But we can make that a little bit easier to find.
Malabar Yard
I'm sorry?
about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a large document. It's like 690 something pages.
Taking, I did this, so it took me to. Did take me to.
Okay, we'll link a we'll link a PDF directly in the website so that it doesn't have to. Yeah, that is Appendix Q.
If you scroll down.
No, that.
That whole document
Yeah.
is Appendix Q.
So there's no detail on. Like if you go to the traffic. Map in there, there's no details on it, but what the results were, and it's.
Right.
It's like they're just minimal. It's minimal information. Tick the boxes, but there's no detail. Yeah.
Right, and so that's,
That is the.
Yes.
There's nothing in.
I mean, there's stuff in it, but yeah, there's definitely large gaps.
and so that was part of our comments in the technical comment letter, address those problems with it because it's meaningless, the document that they've prepared.
I mean, the map where they show Vernon. They don't even distinguish what the yellow dots are or what that means or.
Yeah.
What the impacts are.
Correct. 100%. No, and even we've identified that some of the references to Vernon ordinances are not Vernon, California, they're Vernon, British Columbia. So there's lots and lots of gaps. So if you want to be more informed about it, one way that you can do is you can take Dan's letter because it identifies specific sections and what the document says and where the flaw is. And that can help you navigate this 700-page document and maybe be a shortcut to find something in particular that you may be looking for.
So the locomotives that they're using now are very old. CARB's got a rule.
Yes.
By 2030, they've got to be tier 4 or 0 emissions.
Yes.
So, but I'm sure BNSF can not do that.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Can we start discussing that CARB?
And actually we have. Yeah, actually we have, because there again is the question, there's the state goals, but they're federally regulated. What leverage does CARB have to enforce these regulations?
a big problem.
You know, they don't, when they run the railroads across, they don't always have a guy with, doing the traffic. We set up a camera there and recording it and stuff. European vans to be in that stuff.
Yes.
Let's do that. That was something that we actually considered too, to try and get accurate data, because Metro, clearly said that they don't know for sure. This is what BNSF told them, but BNSF is not forthcoming with them about operational data either.
Or the tracks too, there's tracks that happen, which are maybe things, ways to. And it's a long time. Yeah, choosing guys, and you're right, it's should feel like that. Yeah, so the information from them, it's a challenge.
Just know that the city is bringing all resources available, even externally, subject matter experts in different areas to help us fight.
So the spurs that they've abandoned, they still have rights to them. Should we go after them and fight to say you've abandoned these and rip them out?
So one of the negotiation points was potentially getting them to, seed some unused rail and convert those, rails to trails, program that Metro had as a mitigation. But, to me, that's not really a mitigation. Doesn't address the core impacts, but it's something that they have suggested could be done to help opposition go away. So it's on the table, but our first priority is to try and see if there are project alternatives that make this go. And that's where the technical expertise that we're looking for comes from. So why? As things continue, we'll have our contact list of businesses to keep you all up to date and facilitate you giving us feedback on your meetings with them, because Metro has said one-on-one meetings with property owners and with business operators.
And they said when they would start. Yeah, but that'll be the question to answer on that next meeting. I thought by the next meeting that they would be reaching out to business. Because that day we actually go around the impact of areas, identify businesses that have to be contacted. Our hope is that they do. And then they do, please reach out. Yeah. For the conversation. Well, we'll let you know. Question?
We are always available. As I said, that cityadmin@cityofvernon.org email, whatever your random question, that's a one easy shot to just put it out there and we'll get back to you. And, we're here to facilitate your business operations and provide you all with a competitive advantage to help you continue to do business in California and provide jobs for the local communities. So don't feel like you've got a problem that's too small to reach out and just let us know. And if we can help, we absolutely will. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Please, Rito, help yourself.